Hello and welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, strategies, and insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by Ari of RGA. How's it going, Ari?
It's going well. How you doing, Joe?
Good. Thank you so much for being on. And Ari, I would love to just start this episode off by understanding a little bit more about you and your background.
Sure. I am a global creative director in at RGA, as well as the head of creative excellence. And I started about 4 years ago. And I've been the head of creative at companies like FCB, New York. I had my own creative consultancy for a while after that. Was an executive creative director at Gray, New York as well, and had a lot of success there. I've done a lot of great things in my career. I've been very fortunate to work with also a lot of very talented people who helped me look good along the way, and won a few awards along the way, which I guess you can see over my shoulder, from Cannes Lions to the Emmy to even shortlisted at the Oscars. So it's been a fun ride, and I've loved growing and learning and constantly challenging the odds to put work out there that turns heads and gets noticed.
Yeah, for sure. And you've had this decorated career, which is it's awesome. And obviously you have these great awards. It's a real testament to the work you've been able to do. What inspired you to go to RGA, and what does RGA do for those that don't know?
Sure. RGA has always sat a little bit on the outside of the advertising industry because they really didn't begin as such. RGA is more of a creative innovation company, if you were to try to call it something. They actually began in computer graphics and title sequences for movies more specifically. I think the very first thing that they did, which was in the 70s, was the opening to the Superman movie, the credits with one with Christopher Reeve. They're the ones who did the like 3D type that zoomed at you and the 3D Superman S and stuff. That was all them. They did Alien, they did the movie Seven, all these incredible movie title sequences that you remember from going way back. That was them. But Robert Greenberg, who hence the RGA, Robert Greenberg Associates, he built the company to essentially perpetually change, to always evolve, because he realized that both creative and innovation, and because we're a creative innovation company, those two things are always changing and evolving. And so he evolved into computer graphics and then brand design and then innovation and into marketing, advertising, branding. All of that was very intriguing to me because I had predominantly gone through just the advertising route, and I was looking to grow and spread my wings. And I'd done definitely some innovative creative in my day, but I wasn't steeped in that world. And I figured I would learn a lot. And to be fair, I would say my first few months at RGA was drinking a little bit from a fire hose, and I felt like the stupidest person in the room, like just nodding, even though I didn't understand half the things that they were saying, and throwing out APIs and autonomous storytelling engines. And now that we're in AI, there's so many different AIs, from ChatGPT and Gemini to 11 Labs and Suno AI and Midjourney and like all these different things. And there's new ones coming up all the time. And getting steeped in that and being a part of it has just really expanded the way in which I look to solve problems creatively. And that was a big reason why I came to RGA, is because I was looking for that new challenge.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's really interesting. It's like this, you're always learning, you know what I mean? And so this is just another thing that I think having to learn is really interesting. And I think you've said it yourself too. Joining RGA it was a push to make yourself a little bit more tech savvy. And so I'm curious, what new technology or capability has most changed the way that you approach creativity in this past year?
Without a doubt, AI, but AI is not any one thing. There's so many, as I just listed off, like a bunch
Hmm.
of them. But one particular creative project stood out, I think, above all of the others, at least for sure this year, which
Hmm.
was something we did for AB InBev's direct-to-consumer offering. It's called
Hmm.
Tada. And Tada is more prevalent in Latin America. And essentially, it's a beverage delivery service that you order through the app, and then they deliver you Budweisers and ice and chips and lemons or whatever you want. So anyway, that work that we did for them, we created essentially a retargeting campaign, for lack of a better term, if you want to distill it down to something more familiar. Whenever you have an abandoned cart and you leave your stuff in and don't purchase it, you're immediately hit, or by the next day, hit with an email that says, "Hey, did you forget something?" And then they offer you like 10% or 15% off. Rather than do that, we wanted to be a little bit more creative with it. And we hit upon a killer insight, which is that when it comes to drinks anyway, it's not just an abandoned cart. It's really technically an abandoned memory or an abandoned night out hanging with your friends because you probably ordered like a bunch of things because you were entertaining or whatever. And those alchemic nights and missed opportunities, like are things like you can never get back and become wistful. It's FOMO. And so what we did was we reframed them as such and using AI and what the items people left in their cart, and we knew where they lived and maybe a little bit about them. We served them up designed using our design system, which we had already created previously for the client, custom stories of the night that could have been if only they had checked out that cart. And so it took the items. It's it'd call you by name. Oh, Shiv, if only you checked out your cart. Those Budweiser, blah, 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 the night you would have had, you would have wound up with your friends. You would have started a new rock band. You would have been blah, blah, blah. Danny Trejo would have joined you and sang his backup or something. And these outlandish things, but in order to make it work, we needed the assistance of AI because it would never have happened. It would have been too expensive, too many people, too many versions to write 50,000 of these things.
Yeah.
So we trained different AI models, language models, visuals to understand the design language of the brand, and then the story and the brand identity. We even used the voice actor to train the voice using 11 Labs to train the voice to do it. And then the AI combined, we worked with a company called Imposium that ultimately combined all of these on the fly and within 10 minutes sent you a custom
Wow.
story of what could have been based on everything that was in your cart. And the really fun twist at the end was if you purchased it within 24 hours, we made some of them come true.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's cool how you guys you marry technology and the latest technology, especially with like brand and storytelling. And I'm sure that campaign, just the way you're talking about it, it's like you give yourself this almost this box in which like, hey, this is where we're gonna tell the story from, and then you can just be endlessly creative from there. So, hey, what would the most outlandish night out look like? And then you can just be endlessly creative from there, and then you just marry that with technology. And I'm sure that did really well, right?
Yes, it did, and it was also fun to even see like the things that AI would come up with because eventually like it started to piece together different stories and
Uh,
take the constructs that we had created, but ideate and fill in the blanks itself.
yeah.
And that's where it got super interesting. But at the same time, working together with it and everything was just like beautiful synergy between man and machine.
Wow. That's awesome. That sounds like a really fun campaign to work on too.
Yes.
You love working with brave clients. And this example that you just gave me, I think it is an example of a brave client. What signals tell you that a brand is truly ready to take bold risks versus just saying that they are?
Typically, you can tell by what they gravitate towards, what they like, what the kind of work that they talk about that they're jealous of that's out there. Although not always. Sometimes they're jealous of it, but don't know how to get there or do it necessarily themselves. There's certainly that. But clients who want to be famous and clients who actually care about awards and don't see it as a distraction, if you will, but see it as kind of part of the journey of that caliber of work tends to also outperform in the market. When they understand that and truly you can see believe in it, that's when you're usually on top of a client who's going to be willing to go the distance on something great. But yes, I hear you. There are definitely ones who think that they are, but are not.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It all takes that idea, right? You guys being as creative as you are, once you have this outlandish idea almost, and it's almost seeing if they're gonna take the bait or not, or what matches with them. So I think it's a fun game to play in agency land. Ari, this has been awesome. Where can people learn more about you? Where can people learn more about RGA?
Sure. RGA, you can go to rga.com. You can also go on LinkedIn. RGA is there as well. They also have presence on pretty much all social channels. We have a killer person behind the scenes, guy named Chapin, behind our social media. So you can also find it on X. You could probably also find articles about the company on Google. And then, and very recently, we actually just went independent. So we've had a long history. I think we're in somewhere in our early 40s, I think, in terms of our life cycle. But for about 20 something years, we were part of IPG, which is a holding company, and we bought back our independence in tandem with a company that invested in us. And it's been great since. So a lot of articles you might see are also about that, and buying back our independence actually afforded our ability to invest in something like Tada and the technology that it took to create something like that. So that's all that in terms of me. Again, I'm on LinkedIn. I am also on my own website, arihalper.com. And you can probably Google me as well. I've done a few thought pieces over the years and a few interviews, etc.
Great, awesome. Thank you again for being on, Ari. This is awesome.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.